Hey there, YouTube. This is 17 coming through with a overdressed deck profile. We're first going to start with Dragon Empire. Never thought I was ever gonna have a red deck, but here we are. So just to let you know, this deck isn't 100% complete. I'm still missing about one or two cards for this deck to get it to 100% complete. But I've been testing out here and there at tournaments and things like that. It's been working very well. So only thing I had to say this deck is missing is a counter charger because this deck has no counter charge whatsoever. So you have to be mindful of your counter blast. But besides that, the deck does work very well and can make very consistent numbers and deal some good pressure to your opponent. So we're gonna start with the ride line and then go from there. So as you know, we have the grade 3, Chatavati, Chakravati, Divine Dragon Nirvana. So Chakravati has a very simple skill. Discard one card from your hand, choose one grade 0 from your drop zone, and call it to rear guard. Most times or not, you're going to be calling your Trick Star. If you don't know what that is, you should know what it is, but we'll get to that in a minute. It has another skill on attack, counterblast 1. It and all your units that are overdressed gain plus 10k. So it gives a pseudo front or pseudo persona ride boost to your front row. Because in your front row, you're going to have nothing but it and overdressed units anyway. So next are our grade 2 ride unit, Blaze Maiden Raiju. So Raiju says when rode upon by Nirvana, you can Soul Blast 1 and then set your deck for 1 Verena grade 2 and add it to your hand and reveal it. But then she also has the Vanguard and Rearguard constant skill. When she attacks, she gains plus 2k, meaning she'll always be a 12k attacker. Next, we play the grade 1, Blaze Maiden Reno. Reno has a simple skill. When she's ridden on by Blaze Maiden Ryu, search your deck for up to 1 Trick Star and call it to rearguard. Then she also has the constant skill Vanguard and Rearguard. When she attacks, she gains 2k, which means she'll always be a 10k attacker. Finally, for our ride, surprise, we're using Trick Star as our starting Vanguard. Now, yes, we will be losing out on the draw if we're going second, but even though since we're going second, we still get to attack, so we're basically still getting that draw. But the reason why we run Trick Stars as starter is for Nirvana skill for Raiju skill for Soul Blasting 1 to get to Arena. That way you have an extra Trick Star already in your drop zone for when you go into Nirvana to immediately call that, so you at least during your first grade 3 turn, you have 2 overdressed targets. So now we're going to go into our grade 3s. We play 3 copies of Trick Star's final evolved form, for right now anyway, Verena Valiente. So, Valiente says constant, this unit gets plus 5k for every original overdress, meaning Trick Star or one of the grade 2 overdress units, you can overdress this on top of a grade 2 Verena. Which means if you have Trick Star that overdress into a grade 2 overdress unit, and then overdress this, you have 2 cards in Valiente's technical soul, giving him additional plus 10k. Now, I'm assuming as the sets progress, we're gonna get more and more ways to stuff more and more cards into the overdressed soul to boost this number up. But Valiente also has another skill. Once per turn, when it's overdressing this unit hits, counterblast when discard 1 card and stand it. Now, be wary of this, that it does not have to hit the Vanguard. It just has to hit something to restand. The other grade 3 we play the other 3 copies of Nirvana, because you have 4 Nirvana in this deck, so we already went over Nirvana. We're going to go into the grade 2s. We play 4 copies of Variana Arcs. Arcs is our pseudo-technical pot of greed in this deck. So when you overdress on top of Trick Star, you can counterblast 1, draw 2 cards, and then give this unit plus 5. So when you overdress, he'll be a 15k attacker. But the most purpose of this card is that you get to draw 2 additional cards for free. Well, technically for free. You still gotta pay the cost. So we also play 4 copies of Verena, which is the overdressed unit that you got in the trial deck. Verena says when overdressed on top of Trick Star, when this unit attacks, it gains plus 10k. Then you can Soul Blast 2, choose one of your opponent's rearguards, and retire it. So that's another problem this deck is having right now, is a way to get Soul. So that's why we're getting the new Dragon Maiden fills that role by putting herself into the soul. Now the only thing this deck needs to solve is its countercharging problem. Hopefully we'll get that in set 3. Now the final grade 2 that we play. Thank you, Mama. That's my little one. We play 3 copies of Burn Bright Pure Prayer. This is one of our blitz orders. So if you have 3 or more damage, you can give any unit that's being attacked additional plus 15. Very simple. Just some extra defensive abilities. Next, we're going to go into the grade 1s. We play 4 copies of Twin Buckler Dragon. So Twin Buckler Dragon is our perfect guard. It's one of the newer perfect guards, which says that if you have 1 place down on the guarding circle, if you have 1 or less cards in your hand, you do not need to pay a cost of discarding to perfect guard something. Which means if once your opponent wears your hand down, this is the last card in your hand, you will be able to perfect guard. Similar to things like in Zero. So this is a very good option for perfect guarding. Then it's good. Not really much you can say about it, but it's really good. Especially when you're in those tight-knit situations. Next, we play 3 copies of Stealth Dragon Tensei Steed. I'm not pronouncing that right. This is one of the cards that I plan on taking out, depending if we get a countercharger in the Dragon Empire nation. But this skill says when this unit attack, it boosts it hits. Counterblast 1, retire this unit. Choose up to 1 of your vanguards and search your deck for up to 1 copy of that card and add it to your hand and shuffle your deck. This is your Persona Ride Finder. Now the last grade 3 that we play 3 copies of the other 3 copies of Blade Maiden Reno. The only reason why we play this card is for A, she's a throwaway card. B, she's a spot holder for the new Blaze Maiden that allows us to soul charge. And C, we really don't have any other better options at this point. Next, we're going to go into the grade 0s. We play an additional 3 copies of Trickstar because he's our overdressed key unit. To allow us to overdress without Trickstar, we could not do anything in this deck. Next, we play 4 crit, 4 heal, 4 draw, which I do plan on turning into another set of crits. We really don't need that much draw. The draw does help in the beginning when you're first starting out playing Vanguard, but I believe this deck needs a lot more criticals. Or I could turn this into more fronts. That also helps. But for right now, we play 3 front, and then the 1 over trigger that we got in the trial deck. I do not have the Dragon Empire over trigger yet. I will be planning on getting it later today. But this over trigger is just a pseudo slot filler. It's not a bad over trigger, especially for this type of deck, where if you hit it, you can give your Vanguard 1 million power, and then you can give Valiente 1 million power, making it way easier for it to hit. Besides that, there's really not much more I can say about the trigger lines up until I'm able to really test it more and change it out. So, if you're new to Vanguard and you don't know what overdressing is, overdressing in Dragon Empire is simply using your Trickstar. I'm going to zoom out here. Boom. Trickstar to go into one of your overdress units on rear guard circle. So to overdress, you must have Trickstar on your rear guard circle, and you must place 1 of these units on top of Trickstar. That causes him to become overdressed. Now, you're not able to overdress a 2 on top of a 2 because it wouldn't work. The 2s can only be overdressed on top of Trickstar to gain their effects. But unlike the 3, which is Valiente, Valiente can be overdressed on top of one of the grade 2s. For example, if you were to overdress Arcs on top of Trickstar, you activate Arc Steel, Counterblast 1, draw 2, give it +5. Then you're also able to overdress on top of Arcs with Valiente. giving Valiente +5 for two original dresses in his pseudo soul, making him at 18, and that power is a constant even on your opponent's turn. So it means he'll always be 18 even when it's not your turn. And then you can attack, do skill, stand, he'll always be 18. So when you're overdressing your grade 2, it's really depending on what your gameplay is, what you're going for, what strategies that you're implementing, and what the situation calls for. Sometimes you want to constantly retire your opponent's boards. Sometimes you just need that extra 2 cards in your hand, and because you don't need to do anything more, you can also overdress. Usually I find myself having a board like this, having Nirvana, having an overdress Verena, and then having a super overdress Valiente using arcs as the grade 2 middle ground. Usually this is where I find my board. But besides that, every other card in this deck is just a pseudo way of getting you to your overdressed state as quickly and as fast as possible. That's really what this entire board is made up of. So, if you like what you saw, and if you're interested in playing Vanguard for the first time, I believe this is a really good deck, especially if your playstyle is a very aggro-heavy build deck, and you want to finish off your opponent as quickly as possible. This is the deck for you, especially if you like dragons, dragon knights, dragon knights riding dragons. This is the deck for you. So I know this is pretty short. There's really not much I can go into, so I hope you enjoyed my little ramblings for 12 plus minutes. So you can like, subscribe, hit that bell button for more notifications so you know when the next time I post. Share the video. I will be doing some further giveaways in the future. If you haven't seen my other posts, videos, little shorts and things like that in the future with sets and things like that when I get them and things like that. So I know I've been saying things like that all day. But I hope you enjoyed. And as always, see you later.